What is a TV show you got really far into but eventually quit watching before its conclusion? Once upon a time, I just stopped caring, because it felt like none of the characters were actually developing and would just regress season to season. Edit. For clarity, I believe I finished season 5 before I couldn't be bothered to continue. Somewhere around greater than when Hades gets killed in Regina's office, and the main crew gets sent to Olympus and Hook resurrects. Less than Arrow got tired of the main character flip-flopping from season to season. Felt he was hypocritical when he killed people in the first season and then hunted down people doing the same thing he did in the next, only for him to go back to kill people in the following season. Once upon a time, can't even remember where I got to. I got 18 seasons into Grey's Anatomy before I got irredeemably bored. That's probably the biggest sunk cost here. Edit. Made it halfway through season 18. Didn't keep watching after the second half resumed. Grey's Anatomy, how much trauma can a group of doctors go through? Sheesh. Pretty Little Liars, that shit got too confusing for 16-year-old me. Riverdale. I think it's still on. I got really into it and then just dropped it like a hot rock right about when Sweet Pea came along. Also, I was so convinced that Sweet Pea would introduce Popeye eventually and that Pop's Diner was some kind of portal and it would all be revealed they were in a comic book. I think I might have had too high expectations. The Blacklist was great until they ran out of ideas and just kept recycling the same plot over and over. The little guy from the DMV becoming a major player was the sign the end was near. Falling Skies, I actually enjoyed it, but it moved channels and then I forgot about it. Orange is the New Black and The Walking Dead. NCIS, I don't think it will ever end. Suits. I really liked it to begin with. Soundtrack was a cracker. But it just turned into a soap opera. Too much focus on the Rachel Mike thing. Walking Dead. For sure. It never went anywhere. I wanted a conclusion. A solution. Something new that wasn't killing and fighting other people. I wanted smart solutions. But they never arrived. Shameless. I watched most of it and liked it, but don't recall finishing it. How to Get Away with Murder. Castle. Showrunners pushed it a season too long. Pissed off one of the two leads and most of the fandom. Then tried to write the lead out in the most horrific way possible before it was taken behind the barn and put out of its misery. I got to the start of season 8 and just bailed. And #X200B. Supernatural. Post season 5 was just aimless and lost me about season 7. Walking Dead. Missed an episode so I never watched it again. Heroes. Writers' strike. Yada yada yada. House of Cards. Well before the spacey shit, but that was definitely the nail in the not finishing this coffin. The 100. True Blood. It got so confusing, it was far too much effort to keep watching. Heroes, ugh, what a waste. True Blood. I loved that show so much. But season 5 just got weird and apparently it got even worse after. Those first 3/4 seasons are still great though. Once John Leguizamo started operating on a monkey, I had to step away and wonder what else I could do with my time. Walking Dead. Watched until around S5 or so. Right when Negan was showing up I tapped out. I was already barely caring about the show after S4. Eventually I realized, this isn't going to get better, lol. So I just stopped. I heard some bits about shit that happens after I stopped and I just laughed and was glad I stopped. The show had an amazing S1. IMO. Very good. S2 and S3 were not as good but okay enough to watch. But it just devolved from there. That 70s show. I hated Randy and the show was just not the same without Eric and Kelso. Supernatural lol. I fell off after the Darkness arc. Just couldn't do it anymore. Even the nostalgia factor wore off lol. The Mentalist. Weeds. Arrow. The Flash. Without a trace. Big Bang Theory. Plus a few more I'm forgetting about. My wife gives me crap because she's someone who needs to finish what show she started. But I have no problem dropping a show if I think it's turned to shit. Dexter. Started off incredible then just tapered out, getting worse every season. Shameless. Same thing over and over again. Family member sees a path out of their problemed life. Is doing great on said path. Oh no, something happened. Back to square one. And then Frank shows up. Rinse and repeat. The Simpsons stopped watching around 2000. Here we are 20 plus years later and still going. Sleepy Hollow. It used to be campy and fun, then it became revolutionary. X-Files. Prison Break was probably the first show I watched week to week and just gave up on. Season 1 is prime television. I stood by Season 2 as decent overall. A great first half and okay second half. I even stuck with it through Prison Break Panama Edition. Season 3. And it was kinda dumb but still fun. Then it turned into convoluted. This was all a setup by the government to hide blah 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 plot, and I sighed and knocked out of it.